Hello everybody, Father Rich here with the 10 best albums from 1979. And we're going to hop right into it. I have never done honorable mentions. Because, I believe if you're going to do a top 10, stick to 10, But in this one, I am going to do an honorable mention, and it's the Weirdos. What is it called? Who, What, When, Where, and Why. It's an EP, so that's why I'm not including it. Now, if this would have been an album and it would have maintained this high of quality, this would have been my number one album from 1979. That's how good this EP is. But it's just an honorable mention. Number 10. Great album. When it came out, man, the single I heard on K-Rock, and it just, wow, this is cool. And it's the B-52's debut. Side 1, I think, is better than Side 2. It starts out with Planet Claire, great. 52 Girls, Dance This Mess Around, and then the hit single, Rock Lobster. Side 2 has a couple of songs that I don't think are quite on the same level as those. But it does have 6060842. That is fantastic. Great album. My number 10. Number 9. Elvis Costello and the Attractions, Armed Forces. This is a fantastic album, man. And this is the US copy. The UK copy has this. And I just found out that the UK copy has an extra song, Sunday's Best. And it's actually a great song. Better than some of the songs that are on this. Party Girl, the end of Side 1. It's okay. I think it's Mood for Moderns and Busybodies on Side 2. They're okay. But Green Shirt, fantastic, man. Two Little Hitlers. Goon Squad. Those are probably my 3 favorite, but all the songs are really top notch. And yeah, it's good enough to be number 9. Number 8 is Gary Newman with Tubeway Army, is it? Replicas. I guess he was going to go out on his own. In fact, he did release another album in 79 with the famous song Cars on it. Probably his biggest selling album. This is the one that came out, I think, prior to that one. And it's a great album, man. It starts off with Me, I Disconnect From You. And then it goes into the great song, Our Friends Electric. The Matchman, is it? The Mockman. Really heavy song. Just a great album, man. And then I believe it's When the Machines Rock. I think it's an instrumental. And it starts out with a kind of like a 80s, late 70s, 80s quirky synthesizer, new wave, like kind of quirkiness. And then it goes into this other part. And then it comes back with that quirky thing, but it has this more industrial, railroad pounding sound to it that is kind of gives it a little heaviness. Just a good album, man. Just a good album. We're at number 7, I believe. And it's Madness, One Step Beyond, their debut album. Now, I remember K-Rock used to play One Step Beyond, and they would play Madness on the radio. 2 instrumentals, kind of goofy, kind of quirky. No, not quirky, kind of goofy. So I never really bought this album. I ended up buying a Madness 16 Great Hits or something like that. And I was thinking, holy mackerel, these guys are really good songwriters, So I ended up buying this album years after it came out. And it's great, man. It starts off with the One Step Beyond instrumental. But then it goes into My Girl, Night Boat to Cairo. Just great songs, man. Well-written songs. It ends Side 2 with Tarzan's Nuts, which is pretty funny. You got Bed and Breakfast Man on side 2. Just a great, very well written songs. After the Beatles broke up, all these bands were trying to be the new Beatles. You had like bands like ELO and all these crappy bands that were taking themselves too serious, And the Beatles never really came across as taking themselves too serious, really. And thinking back on it, this is the one band that I think could have been the new Beatles. Listening to their records, they're just great. They continued to progress throughout their career. And then I saw them live at a small club. And their vocals just don't cut the mustard, man. They couldn't have been the new Beatles because they couldn't sing that well. But yeah, their albums are great. Number 6 is The Police. I always forget the names of these stupid things. Regatta de Blanc. This is a great album. Their second album. I saw them when they were touring, when they were promoting this album. And they were fantastic. They were a lot heavier than any of their albums. The guitar was out of this world loud, sounding like Jimi Hendrix at times. It was kind of weird. It's like, man, they don't sound like this on their records at all, But yeah, this is a great album. Again, a great side 1. Side 2, it's not bad, but there is a couple of songs that aren't as good as the others. But you got some Message in a Bottle, just a great song, man. And then the second one, Regatta de Blanc, I think it's an instrumental, or almost. Side 2 starts off with Walking on the Moon. That was always a favorite of mine. And yeah, I love this album, man. 6. Now we're to the top 5. Number 5. These top 5, man, they jiggled around, but this one ended up coming at 5. Talking Heads, Fear of Music, their third album with this. The texture on this cover. Great album, man. I think it's almost all really good songs. Unlike their other ones, like their first album has some great songs, but then it has some that are it got a little samey after a while. This one, man, it's just on the top all the way through. And yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to say too much about it, man, I didn't see this band early on. I saw them when that movie Stop Making Sense came out. That was recorded at the Roxy. And that same week, it might have been a couple of days earlier, I saw them at the Long Beach Convention Center. And it was a great concert. And I think this is their first great album. Although the other two are good. Number 4 is a banger of an album. AC/DC, Highway to Hell. Again, not a bad song on this album. It's their second album in a row that's made my top 10. And yeah, this is unfortunately the last album that came out with Bon Scott on vocals. They replaced him with Brian Johnston, I think it is, or Johnson. He didn't quite have the vocals of this guy, but they did make some good albums. But yeah, Highway to Hell, dude. The Girls Got Rhythm. It just starts off. Just a great album all the way through, man. I love this album. Top 3 now. And this one is still in the shrink. What an abomination. It's Joy Division, Unknown Pleasure. This album, it's got a raw sound to it. The guitars, the bass, but the drums on it, man. The drums are a trip on this. It's, I'm not going to play the drums with my mouth, even though I could. I don't know all the technical terms, but sometimes the drums seem like they're a little behind, or I don't know. They just stick out. In fact, they sound like a drum machine at times, you know. Fantastic album. And unfortunately, the singer of this band committed suicide right before they were going to come tour the U.S., which is very unfortunate. Yeah. Number 2, probably a lot of people's favorite, and it's London Calling by The Clash. I think it's a great album. Doesn't really have a bad song on it. 4 sides. It has one of my favorite Clash songs on it. Hateful. I think that's a great song. Man, I got a tickle in my throat. What was it? 2 videos ago, I had a tingle in my dingle. This time I got a tickle in my throat. Sorry about that. But yeah, great album. Some people think this is the best punk album ever. Well, I don't know if I would say that. But I'll tell you one thing, man. I saw these guys in concert, and all 4 members had so much charisma, dude. Especially the bass player, man. Paul Simeon, who's right here on the cover. That dude was so cool. So if that's not number 1, what's number 1? Well, it's the first American hardcore album ever. Now, I think a couple of lists back, I said the Crass Feeding of the 5,000 could be maybe the first hardcore record. And I didn't mean record, I meant album. Because the first hardcore record is Middle Class, going Out of Vogue by Middle Class. That's the first hardcore record. But this is the first hardcore album. And it's a banger, dude. Especially side 1. And side 2's nothing to, laugh about. And side 2 ends with Shut Down, a live performance. And it's a slower song compared to all the rest. Yeah, just a banger of an album, dude. Darby Crash, the singer, he committed suicide. Oh, well, there's Darby. Darby committed suicide on the day that John Lennon was murdered. Lorna, fantastic bass player. Pat Smear, great guitar player. Went on to Twisted Roots, on to Foo Fighters. And we got Don Bowles here, one of the best drummers in the LA punk scene. 45 Grave, fantastic. And he has a group where he's the leader of now, and I don't know the name of it. It's a gigantic band, and it's fantastic. But yeah, banger of an album, dude. Top 10. This might be my last 10 best. I've done 15 of them now. I started at 65, ended here at 79. If I do continue them, I might be able to do 80 and 81. But after that, I'm going to have to change the name to my 10 favorite. Because some of the best albums I got rid of or I never bought, So, we'll see. Take care, everybody. But that was definitely the 10 best. And, oh yeah, one other thing. It was brought up on Doctor and the Kids live stream 2 streams ago. They're going to do a stream this Saturday. Check it out. Best live stream on YouTube. But someone brought up, I know who it is, but I'm not going to mention their name, that they were talking about these 10 best videos, that they're pretty pointless. And I must agree, they are kind of pointless. Unless it's mine. Take care, everybody.